Have you ever wondered how a trade war could hit your wallet? We're about to find out. With US and Chinese tariffs both exceeding 100% on each other's goods, we're witnessing the most aggressive economic confrontation in modern history. The implications are severe. Hundreds of billions in annual trade threatened, millions of jobs at risk, and consumer prices projected to spike across everything from food to electronics. Behind these concerning figures lies a deeper question that extends beyond economics. Are we seeing purely trade disputes over deficits, or are we witnessing the emergence of a new geopolitical rivalry between superpowers? Before we dive in, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest content. The consumer's burden, immediate impact of the tariff war. As retailers brace for the impact of the new tariffs, they're not waiting for tariffs news updates to adjust their pricing strategies. What we're seeing is a phenomenon economists call front-running, where businesses are proactively increasing prices in anticipation of higher costs, even before feeling the full impact of the tariffs themselves. This means you'll likely notice price hikes at your local stores sooner rather than later, as retailers attempt to cushion the blow to their bottom lines. Imagine walking into your neighborhood grocery store and finding that your weekly essentials have suddenly jumped 5 to 10% in price overnight. This scenario is becoming reality as companies distribute the price shock over time, rather than hitting consumers with sudden dramatic increases. Economist Mark Zandi observes that retailers will strategically sprinkle in higher prices over time to blunt backlash from consumers. This calculated approach minimizes customer resistance while protecting profit margins in a challenging economic environment. Food prices serve as early indicators of tariff impacts. The perishable nature of groceries creates a much faster cost pass through to consumers than durable goods. Grocers cannot hold inventory for extended periods, forcing them to quickly adjust pricing to reflect tariff-related costs. Your grocery bill will be among the first household expenses reflecting this new economic reality, with price increases appearing across various food categories, from produce to packaged goods. By Memorial Day, consumers will see higher price tags on numerous products: vehicles, electronics, clothing, and furniture, giving households little opportunity to prepare financially for this reduction in purchasing power. While the administration frames these tariffs as making other countries pay their fair share, economists unanimously agree that U.S. businesses and consumers will bear the financial burden. When a 10% tariff is placed on imported goods, that cost either cuts into business profits or gets passed directly to consumers. The National Emergency Declaration creates a complex web of price increases affecting virtually every sector of consumer spending. Capital Economics projects the Consumer Price Index to reach approximately 4% by the end of 2025, up from 2.4% in March, nearly double the Federal Reserve's target. This inflationary pressure, combined with reduced consumer spending in response to higher prices, creates conditions for economic contraction. Some analysts already point to the possibility of a recession by late 2025 as a direct result of these policies. For consumers planning major purchases, the landscape has become more complicated. Even products with partial exemptions will face new lower-level tariffs that impact retail prices. Delaying non-essential purchases might be financially prudent as these tariffs reshape the marketplace. The international repercussions extend beyond U.S. borders, with Goldman Sachs lowering China's GDP growth forecast to 4% this year due to tariff impacts. This slowdown in the world's second-largest economy will have ripple effects throughout the global economic system. The labor market may also face headwinds as businesses adjust to higher costs. Companies caught between rising import prices and resistance to consumer price increases may reduce other expenses, including labor costs, further complicating the economic outlook and potentially affecting employment levels across various industries. China's arsenal: strategic weapons beyond tariffs. Beyond the immediate impact on American workers, there's a hidden dimension to China's economic strategy that few recognize. The real power China wields isn't in matching tariffs dollar for dollar, but in controlling critical supply chains that the U.S. economy simply cannot function without. While American consumers brace for price hikes, China is countering in ways that go far beyond mere numbers on a tariff sheet. When China placed 15 American entities on its export control list on March 4th, followed by another 12 on April 9th, it created strategic choke points in global supply networks. These targets, predominantly U.S. defense contractors and high-tech firms, depend on rare earth elements that China processes with near monopolistic control. Beijing holds the master key to a resource vault that powers American tech. Despite U.S. efforts since 2018 to reduce dependency, China maintains 85% of global rare earth processing capacity, creating extraordinary leverage over Washington that most policymakers rarely discuss publicly. China's strategic arsenal extends beyond mineral resources. American farmers face particular vulnerability as Beijing strategically targets agricultural exports. China accounts for approximately half of all U.S. soybean exports and nearly 10% of American poultry exports. When Beijing revoked import approvals for U.S. soybean exporters on March 4th, it sent a clear message about economic vulnerability. For farmers in America's heartland, these aren't abstract policy disputes. They represent real threats to livelihoods built over generations. These agricultural trade disruptions disproportionately impact Republican-leaning states, creating domestic political pressure that Beijing understands can influence American trade policy. U.S. companies operating within China face an entirely different category of risk. China's Ministry of Commerce has stated that the U.S. threat to escalate tariffs is a mistake on top of a mistake that once again exposes the blackmailing nature of the U.S. More ominously, they've declared, China will never accept this. If the U.S. insists on its own way, China will fight to the end. This fighting stance translates into concrete actions. American companies in China face potential regulatory pressure through increased scrutiny, unexpected inspections, licensing delays, and bureaucratic hurdles designed to disrupt operations and increase costs. These tactics create uncertainty without requiring China to implement formal tariffs. China has adopted a wartime footing approach, mobilizing government officials to counter U.S. trade actions. Officials have been ordered to cancel vacation plans and remain available around the clock, with departments covering U.S. relations reinforced with veterans from Trump's first term. President Xi Jinping's April state visits to Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia weren't coincidental. These Southeast Asian nations were also targeted by Trump's tariffs, potentially pushing them closer to China. Meanwhile, China and the European Union have been discussing strengthening trade ties. China's long-term strategy is becoming clearer. Beijing is systematically reducing its dependence on the U.S. market, making its economy more resilient to trade shocks. U.S.-bound exports accounted for 19.8% of China's total exports in 2018, falling to just 12.8% by 2023. This diversification provides China greater economic stability during trade tensions. China's Ministry of Commerce suggested the U.S. had blinked by exempting smartphones, computers, and chips from its 145% tariff rate, portraying the U.S. as an unreliable economic partner, undermining the international trade order. Conclusion: as we've explored throughout this video, the U.S.-China trade standoff appears headed for prolonged conflict. With neither superpower showing signs of compromise, we're witnessing the beginning of what could become a protracted economic struggle. The implications extend beyond immediate financial impacts into geopolitical spheres, potentially triggering increased tensions over Taiwan, technology sovereignty, and strategic influence. This conflict represents a fundamental power rebalancing with significant stakes for global stability. Both nations must calculate whether victory justifies the tremendous economic pain ahead. What does this mean for your future and the global economic order we all depend on? The answer will reshape international relations for decades to come. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.